What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff. He is the one and only Angel Ortega. A lot of stuff to talk about this week, as always. We got Jake Paul, we got some UFC, we got just some little stuff to close out the year. Obviously, it's going to be, holiday special. You know how it is. Before we get into all the news, all the results, and more, I'm talking to you guys real quick about Rogue Energy. As always, if you want 10% off your order, use the code SOUNDOFF at checkout at RogueEnergy.com. Let's go to SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off of all your energy needs. Angel, look, there's no other way to start this off. I know that some of our audience may not like the subject. It'd be weird.
Fuck the audience.
But,
fuck the fans.
Fuck the fans. We got to talk about it. Just to start off, last Saturday night from the Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. I don't think it's how you pronounce it. Amalie Arena? Who cares? They were fighting somewhere in Florida.
I forgot that was in Florida.
Yeah. Jake, the problem child Paul, defeating Tyron, the Frozen One Woodley, via 6th round knockout. Up until then, the fight was probably by far the worst of both men's career, which is saying a whole lot out of Woodley. And was by far the worst fight of the Jake Paul experience so far. And then at 2 minutes and 12 seconds of the 6th round, Jake feints to the body. Woodley drops the hand and gets absolutely clobbered with a right hook that sends him face down. Fight is over. Angel, my guy. We were watching this one together. It was 6 rounds of torment. And then that one shot is all it took. What are your thoughts about the performance, the fight? Give me your take.
I mean, like you said, it was looking rough there at the start. Those 6 rounds were something, I mean, there's a lot of factors that played into that, I think, but in the end, it ended in dramatic fashion. And I even told you, Josh, before. I think I don't even know if I mentioned it on the podcast. I think I told it to you privately. I'm like, he needs to come out here and make a statement. I think he can't let it end in a dominant decision. And the way it was going, it wasn't going to be a fun decision either. And by the way, you made fun of me and even called me a Jake Pauler for telling you how I think it was being scored. Funny enough, it was actually worsely scored than what I thought.
Oh, you know what I mean? I know. Yeah, I know.
And you were teasing me, but I was like, Josh, no, you got to think about how these fucking judges are. I was even wrong about that because the judges didn't even have it how I thought it was.
Which it's actually kind of funny because the first fight I actually thought they were kind of lenient to Woodley in terms of scoring. This time they were being really lenient towards Jake. It was worse than I thought. If you guys don't know the scorecards, I don't have them in front of me. If I remember correctly, up into the 6th round, 2 of the judges gave Woodley one round. The other 2 judges gave Woodley 1 round. The other one had given him 2 rounds. So regardless, Jake was up heavy on all cards.
Yeah.
So, you were, I was wrong.
And it's not like Woodley was doing anything to help his case either. And I was even telling you this the whole time. I was like, dude, this clinching shit, like, it'd work if he was doing more between the round, but it's not gonna end up winning him the fight if he's not gonna do it the proper way. It could have worked greatly if he would have done it right. It just wasn't done right, and obviously we didn't get to the cards. It ended up being his demise. His demise ended up being him getting feinted at the body and then dropping his right hand and getting caught, which shit happens. Jake planted his feet, set it up. I mean, it was like you said, it was beautiful. Yeah, dude, I mean, it shocked the shit out of us, dude. We all thought we were gonna ride off into some boring decision. I mean, there was 6 of us total in there that night, including you and me, I think. And we were all kind of like, well, fuck, this is kind of rough. And then, boom, the knockout comes in, and we're all like, holy shit. Josh, I mean, it's not fake. Is it real as it gets? People continue to say this shit is fake. I don't know why people are so fucking dumb and say that it's fake. I don't, we try to explain the fact of why it can't be fake. And I mean, we're going to enter a lot here. I mean, this is going to be a deep cut, I think, here in a bit into some of the stuff we're going to get into, but, fuck, man, this is fucking insanity.
Look, Angel, see, you don't get it because to your untrained eye, okay, you didn't see him. Jake Paul,
let me guess, Josh, you've been watching boxing for 15 years.
he did a signal, okay, with his hand. You don't get it, bro, okay? You just don't even get it, man. Yeah, I think, okay, look, I've always
society,
said,
don't we?
honestly, dude, I've always said the Jake Paul fights, people always say they're rigged. They're not any more rigged than any big boxing fight. Like,
Oh yeah, and we saw it that night, especially that night.
yeah. Like, I mean, people don't realize, like, people always get freaked out about, like, people are just now, oh my god, the fight's rigged. It's like, it's not rigged through that way. Like, yeah, Jake's gonna have every single advantage of the book, but like, every A side in every boxing match ever has outside of Manny Pacquiao for whatever reason. I'm not sure what he did, but he ended up on the wrong side of like 3 or 4 decisions, which is really funny. He's the only one I can remember. Outside of that, every single big boxer gets like a couple of gimme decisions throughout their career, dude. Like, can you think of a single one? I can't. Like,
I mean, I'm sure there's something in there.
yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, it just, you have to be completely brain dead to think that it was rigged. Cause look, dude, as much as I love Tyron Woodley, and we'll talk about him in a minute, he got put out cold, dude. Like, you can't fake that. He had to be a fucking Oscar winning. He was on DiCaprio type shit, my dog. All right,
Dude, he got put fucking beyond. That was that had to have been some next level method acting, dude. I don't even know if you could put DiCaprio in the same fucking category. For real, on some Revenant shit, dude.
For real, whenever he hit the ground and he woke up and he tried to like, and his brain was short circuiting and he was trying to get up with his right arm and he couldn't, bro. Oh my god, the next level acting, dude. By the way, that's how you know it was a bad knockout, bro. Like, 'cause he was out, right? He's out on his feet. He falls over. I'm pretty sure he woke up when he hit the canvas, and you can see him like trying to move his arm to get up, and he can't. Like, that his brain was bouncing around. All right.
You know, I've seen Woodley act. It's not that good, so it's not like this was the greatest performance of his career here. So trust me,
dude, you didn't like him as an extra in Straight Outta Compton?
Is that where he was in?
He's been in a bunch of movies.
I forgot what I saw. Is that the one where he gets his balls bit by the dog? Is that the bit?
Oh, I have no idea.
Dude, look up that scene. It's
I've seen the scene. I just don't know if that's what happens. Like, I'm not sure if that's.
I don't even think that's the movie. I don't even think that's for Straight Outta Compton, because I saw Straight Outta Compton a bit of it. It's funny. I saw like all the movie, but not in like in a sequential order in its entirety in one sitting.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I've seen him in is Straight Outta Compton. But I know he's been in, like, probably, like, 12 movies. Actually, I think I also saw him in, like, Hawaii Five-0. Oh,
my God.
Yeah, so, yeah, he's been in a couple of movies. But, yeah, we've seen Tyron act. It's not that great, bro. That was just a hard shot. And full credit to Jake, man. I mean, even Woodley in the post-fight, he was like, why the fuck did I drop my hand? Like, why did I do that? And
I pointed it out instantly after the replay. I'm like, dude, he dropped his fucking hand. I can't believe it. I'm like, why did he do that? I don't know why he did it.
For no reason either. Like, it wasn't even Jake's. Here's the thing, right? The first fight, he was jabbing to the body a lot. This time, he didn't even jab to the body. So it'd be like a good if Woodley would have, like, in the first fight dropped his hand because he was trying to, like, you know, parry away the jab to the body. Like, I'd kind of get it, but in this time, Jake pretty much absolved, like, all the body work he was doing. Like, he had a couple of nice little hooks every once in a while, but, like, I can't believe he dropped his hand. Like, and then, like, that entire sequence, I'm sure you've seen the sequence, like, at least 1 million times now, because, like, it's been on everywhere on Twitter.
I watched it every day. I've watched it every day since it's happened. I kid you not.
Yeah, no, I'm the same page. And, like, you know what's funny? It's, like, the earliest things that you get taught, like, I have very little combat sports, like, experience, right? Like, I did karate and a little bit of kickboxing. The earliest thing that you get told is if you're getting into range, don't just stand there. Don't get into range and just don't do anything. Feint, punch, do anything. Don't just sit there. Tyron Woodley literally hung out in the pocket for like 30 seconds and didn't do anything. Proceeds to drop his hand and get knocked the fuck out. Like, it was. I mean, look, dude, I love Tyron Woodley. He's a G. He's still my boy. But, bro, that was rough, man. It was rough. But, yeah, I mean, as far as it goes, it was a nice knockout by Jake. Terrible fight. I mean, I've rewatched all the fights, like, every single time whenever, like, a new Paul fight comes up to, like, do film study. I try to, like, watch and see if there's any little things I can, like, pick up on for previews or whatever. I won't watch this one ever again.
I mean, there's not to watch. There's not a lot to watch in this one early on, sadly.
Exactly.
Which kind of sucks too. Not gonna lie, because it would have been nice to see a little bit more growth in him, right? But I'll give you this, man. We didn't even mention it. I mean, he went through adversity in that fight. You know, he was getting fucking, you know, like, it's, what's it called, clinched. He had the cut come in. It was bleeding. It was coming down his face. It was a big cut, too. I actually ended up seeing it later on. I didn't realize how bad it was until I saw it on, I think it was Logan's Snapchat store, or it might have been Snapchat or Instagram. I saw like a clip of it on YouTube. It was a short. I was like, oh shit, that shit was actually kind of deep. So, there's a lot of other things he got out of this that we saw in the first fight where it's like he could take a shot, a number of things. But this time around, he came, like you said, we still got some out of it, but we didn't see everything we wanted to see. He was more confident, more comfortable. He better overall better conditioning, which is obviously to be expected. He learned a lot from that first time around, and he's going to continue to learn. So I'm curious to see what happens in the next.
I mean, and as far as the next, there's been a lot of names thrown out there. So I'll just go ahead and pass it directly back to you. I mean, honestly, there's been a lot of names thrown out there. There's been a lot of rumors in the immediate aftermath. He called out a couple of UFC guys, which obviously isn't going to happen, at least not next. But there's still a couple of names that have been brought up. If you were to go ahead and guess his next opponent, maybe his next few opponents, not next few, but most likely to be his next opponent, what are some of the names that come to mind?
Oof. I mean, I still think Tommy's up there as an option, right? Obviously that fight was going to happen. It's a little weird now, though, that this kind of happened. It's kind of like a lot of people are making it seem like that fight's kind of out the door. It's crazy to me, Josh. After this fight, I heard a couple people who, keep up with fighting, actually former fighters, talk about the fact that they think if Tommy was in there, Tommy would have got fucked up. I don't know if you like seen any of these people talk about this, but I was listening to a couple of podcasts. People were like, "Yeah, Tommy would have got fucked up if he was in there with Jake." I kid you not.
Yeah, I think those people are fucking delusional. I think that you've only seen one. I think you've probably only seen the Anthony Taylor fight if you're saying that about Tommy Fury. And Tommy Fury,
I'm sure that plays a factor in it too. But it's crazy to me because these people who watch fighting, dude, like people who watch fighting, been watching fighting longer than us. People who even watch boxing longer than us, and people who actually fought, like ex-fighters, dude.
You know what's funny? I think I know who you're talking about.
I've seen more than one, though. I've seen more than one, though. It's not just one. Because there might be one that you're thinking of who that person's already kind of suspect with some of his opinions as of lately. And actually, throughout all time, we're not going to get, if it is a person thick boy status.
thick boy, yeah, thick boy status. You know what I'm saying, B? All right.
Yeah, I mean, that might be one of them, but there's more though. There's more. That's one, and I've seen another one, and another one outside of that, which I was shocked. Dude, I was like, dude, that's so crazy to me because you fought and you actually know how to fight, and it's just crazy that you think like this kid is gonna have an easy time. Where I think right now that's probably one of the most difficult fights. I think is, and I'm actually not gonna say that. That's out of pocket. I'm not gonna say that. This is
okay. All right.
But definitely, like, at least, because there's a big question mark. I think after that match, I think we'll kind of have more answers, which is interesting, because it's like, someone in his age range, someone who's been doing it at a young age, someone who's actually, like, on the come up just like him, and is obviously down and is really confident and is saying a lot of things, too, that will, and obviously has a good camp around him. I mean, I think that, at least for my money, and I think is a genuine good option to, like, continue to solidify himself, that is a good opponent to take out next. But granted, I feel like if he comes out and does a good job against him, I feel like it's going to sound fucked up, dude, but it's just going to be the story of him for a while and it's going to sound bad until he runs into the wrong guy, which is what people want to happen, which because people don't like him. But let's say he goes out there and beats Tommy Fury, I think, and does it in good fashion. People are going to be like, well, he's young, he didn't have a lot of, it's going to, there's, and I said this originally with the, I think the first time around in the Woodley fight, there's always going to be stuff like stipulations behind each win or something behind each win where it's going to be like, well, this, that, there's always going to be stuff with that, and it makes sense, right? But still, it's going to take a while before, and it might not even ever happen where people are like, okay, finally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, look, just to go ahead and address that first point, I think that if you legitimately believe that Tommy would have gotten messed up more than Tyron, I'm pretty sure. Can I just ask, are they MMA guys or are they boxing guys?
MMA guys who've also been, and then one guy I know for a fact has been a long time boxing fan. I'm talking like kept up during like the fucking major Tyson era and after that. Like, legitimately, like, and yeah, like, this person loves combat sports.
Okay. So the reason why I asked that is because a lot of people that I've seen that, and, you know, I'm sure that you have a couple of people in mind, and I know that I have one in mind. I've seen a lot of people, not even just like fans that have said, like, oh yeah, Tommy would have gotten beat up worse than Tyron would. And I'm like, man, this is not Tyron Woodley of 2016, man. Like, I feel more sure of, because before, I always said that Tommy was going to beat Jake if they did fight. And obviously, as time goes on, I actually think the fight sways more in Jake's favor because I think he is improving it rapidly. I think he's learning more how to leverage his shots, and there's a lot of things that, like, he still clearly needs to work on. But I think the fact that he has a huge right hand is going to bail him out of a lot of situations depending on depending on who he fights. But I think the Tommy thing, dude, like, I really don't see the stuff that everybody else is seeing. Like, I feel like any time, you know, I said it on the night of, right? That fight, Tyron Woodley 2 fight for Jake Paul, infuriated me more than the first one. Because any time Tyron threw, and he threw combinations, he backed Jake up. He hurt him during the third round. And I didn't rewatch the fight. Probably need to rewatch that third round specifically. But I remember correctly, if I remember correctly, it was either the third or the fourth where he nailed him a couple of times. And he had Jake on ice skates. And he did nothing. Tommy Fury, for all my criticism of him, he throws arm punches. He doesn't have a whole lot of power. He's very bad at measuring the distance. He doesn't have a killer instinct. Dude actually has pretty good combinations. I'd be very shocked if Jake beat him and he was able to withstand the most basic of combinations, because Jake, for all...
This is going to be so funny whatever happens in hindsight, or maybe it doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
I know, and because I picked Tyron the second time. This is the first time I've been wrong about a Jake Paul prediction, and most of that was mostly just picking out of pure heart.
I know you were about to pick Askren way back when, and you changed the night up.
I know, but at the time, I said it was either going to be a standing TKO for Jake or just Ben drags him into deep water, which, you know, and by drags him into deep water, I mean makes it a really shitty fight. So, yeah, Tyron actually did the game plan I thought Ben was going to do, so it's actually kind of funny. But yeah, dude, I mean, as far as his next opponent...
It's funny because they know each other, too.
Yeah, they train together, yeah. But as far as his next opponent, if I were to go and throw 3 names out there, I don't think, first of all, he called out a bunch of MMA guys. No, he's not going to be fighting Nate or Nick Diaz next. No, he's not going to fight Masvidal. No, he's not going to fight McGregor. No, none of those guys.
Not now. It's not impossible, but not now.
The only one, well, I don't think he'll ever fight McGregor. I know that this is the thing we disagreed on, but
I don't think it's impossible. The likelihood's a different story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Nate and, like, Masvidal is a small 170-er. Not a small 170, decent sized 170-er. Same thing for Nate. So they can make up the difference. Like, Jake could be a lot bigger than them, but it wouldn't be unsellable.
Also, this was at 180. It was at 186. It wasn't 190, right?
It was at 192.
Was it 192?
Yeah.
I mean, they could meet at 180, you know.
They maybe. I'm not sure what Jake walks around at. I've heard around 200 pounds, but I'm not sure if that's entirely true. That's in camp or out of camp. But regardless, the Conor fight would be hard to sell because he's so much smaller and he's only getting worse. So I don't think what can even happen because Conor's like not even big for 155, not at this point. So,
I mean, anyway. I think it's dependent. Look, I'll tell you this with the UFC guys. I think it's dependent because obviously since like whoever fights him, if they were contracted at the time with the UFC, they have to split a cut with Dana. So realistically, you want to catch him at the biggest of his hype. So Dana's probably going to shut down everything until the money is like really, really, and I mean really good with them. Because one, Dana will get money out of it. Well, UFC will get money out of it, not necessarily Dana. And the fighter will get a lot of money out of it. So it's going to be a while before that happens. Because right now, they'll make more money than what they're making in the UFC, without a doubt. I feel like a lot of people are saying that they won't, but let's be honest. With the UFC name and the fighter and him and the promotion, those guys would make good money and way more money than what they would on any of their UFC fights in any of their pay-per-views. Let's just be realistic, you know? That's just a fact. Most likely. No one's ever going to want to admit that in the UFC. Dana's never going to want to admit it, but it's just a fact. But like I'm telling you, I think it'll take a while. It's not unlikely to happen. I think he'll fight a guy either who's finishing his contract in the UFC or someone who's almost out of the UFC when he peaks, or whenever Dana thinks he peaks, or when he has peaked, and the numbers are there at their biggest, and it's like, oh shit, we can't avoid this anymore. We have to get on this before someone else does.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I'll say this much. I think that if Dana ever does choose to co-promote, which is very unlikely, because there's a difference between co-promoting with a Floyd Mayweather, which he's done before, and co-promoting with a Jake Paul. Because whenever these guys lose to Jake Paul, as much as what Dana and like what the UFC and a lot of MMA fans may say, it kind of looks bad in some of the public's eyes that don't know any better. Like, they don't know that Tyron Woodley fought 22 pounds below what he did on Saturday. They don't know that, like,
they just think he's fucking coming off his UFC championship tender.
Exactly.
On top of the world with fucking 2
he's getting
belts.
knocked out by a YouTuber. Like, that's what the public sees. Whether or not, in a long run, if he keeps on doing this, it will look bad in some people's eyes. Because, like, the Ben fight was never a big deal, because I think even the general public that watched the fight was like, oh, yeah, this dude looks like ass. You're telling me this guy was a UFC fighter? Like,
man looks like a bag of milk. Dude
looks like a bag of milk. But the Tyron thing you could sell, because Tyron, phenomenal shape, even though he's older. And he at times, whenever he threw punches, he didn't look unskilled in there. Like, you could tell he wasn't a boxer by trade, but, like, you could tell the power was there and stuff was there. It looked like, oh shit, Jake Paul is coming in here beating up these UFC guys. Like, it will reflect bad at a certain point if this thing keeps on happening. And that's what I've told people. Like, the MMA fans may not believe it, MMA fans may not buy it, but that's what's going to happen. So that's why I don't think Dana will ever co-promote. Because it's one thing to have Tyron, who's 5 years past his prime, lose. It's another to have Conor McGregor, who's on your active roster, lose. So I think if Dana ever chooses to co-promote, Jake's not going to be fighting Conor McGregor. You know who's going to be fighting? Fucking Israel Adesanya.
That's what everybody's saying, dude. Everybody's saying, send Izzy and get this shit done with, which is funny.
You're going to be fighting, because Izzy actually is everybody knows him for his kickboxing. Dude was like a really good boxer too. I think he fought in like
he's a good record.
Term I can't remember the name of.
He has like under 10 wins, right? Like a little under.
He's like 9-1 as a pro boxer,
which is legit. You could sell on that too.
Yeah, I just checked. It. He's 5-1. He fought in the Super 8 boxing tournament in 2014 and 2015.
Yeah,
his one loss was to Daniel Aman, who
was it a split decision?
Huh?
Was that a split decision? I don't remember there was something with that decision that Izzy was.
It was I believe it was a majority draw, not majority draw, split decision.
Yeah, so I think Izzy even said that he thought he won that, or he felt some type of way after that. I don't remember.
And the guy he lost to was fucking 32 and 10. He's not a bad guy. A lot more experience. So yeah, you can sell Izzy, but yeah, if Jake Paul is he's calling out he's calling out the right guys, but he won't be fighting those guys. He's gonna be fighting somebody that's around his same size and actually a really good boxer in their prime. So,
yeah, when Dana's ready to send the Gladiator, he's gonna send the best one he has. You know what I mean?
He is, dude. He's not gonna send Conor McGregor, who's like 165 pounds, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah, he's not gonna send fucking Alexander Volkanovski in there, you know, or Henry Cejudo.
Exactly. Like, he won't. Dana, if he's gonna send him, you know,
he's gonna send the best.
You're coming on. Come on, all right.
If he could send Ngannou, he would. You know, like
he would. Yeah, dude, but back to real quick to my point, like, if he's gonna fight somebody, if Jake Paul's gonna fight somebody, my next three opponents, the three most likely opponents, I think, in my head, and I thought about this a whole lot, right? He's gonna be fighting either one of these three guys next, and you can bank on it. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Tommy Fury, or Anderson Silva. It's gonna be one of those three. Which one? I don't know.
By the way, did you see the betting odds for his next opponent? I can tell you them real quick. I have them pulled up.
I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but I know Anderson's the front runner, I think.
Yes, Anderson's the front runner, followed by Tommy. Believe it or not, under Tommy, it's Dylan Diaz, McGregor. Obviously, they get pretty big after this. Actually, this is not in the order of, my bad. But Anderson is the front runner. But it's Tommy Fury. I can put it in the correct order in my head real quick. So Anderson Silva, Tommy Fury, Diaz. After that, they got Deron Williams for some reason on here. JJ, Oscar De La Hoya, and then who else? Floyd's on here. Conor McGregor, Masvidal, Mike Tyson, and Canelo dead last.
That is very, very surprising.
What a fucking list of names too, right?
some of those names, they're just trying to get dumbasses who like to bet, honestly.
Well, yeah, but no one's in the dude. Realistically, who the fuck's gonna bet on Deron Williams to be his next opponent?
So, I mean, maybe somebody, bro. Somebody.
You know, throwing Oscar De La Hoya in there, I thought that actually wasn't that crazy. Since he wanted to come back, and, you know, he's like, I want to get back into it, you know, have the fire. You know, he was really, like, excited to come back, so it's like, I don't know, I really don't think that one's an unrealistic one, crazy enough. I don't think it'll happen, but it doesn't sound too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that crazy. I think that Oscar's a guy that is, as much as he's, like, kind of, like, out there sometimes, I also think he knows that what it would do to his legacy if he lost to Jake Paul. Because it's one thing to go lose, like, Vitor Belfort, he's a lot bigger than you, and, like, an MMA world champion. You know what I mean? Or Formula One.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be the nail in the coffin, right? Like, not even...
Yeah, like, you couldn't come back from that.
You know how we talk about all these other guys' legacies, you know, being kind of stained from this? That would actually, like, end it all.
Exactly. To be... the next fight, like I said, in my opinion, so it's going to be one of those three. It's a lot of the names you listed aren't possible. I think JJ may be a sneaky option depending on what he's doing. So, I don't know what he's doing.
I don't think anytime soon. I think he's just too busy with everything. He talks about it. Apparently he's been trading, like I told you. Like, the whole issue with this is obviously this guy's getting better. He's fighting better guys now than what he does before, and JJ hasn't fought since the Logan fight. I mean, it would have been different. He would have kept fighting after the Logan fight.
Yeah, but, that's true.
But yeah, it's been a while, and I mean, unless they send in, you know, the tank, Deji, coming back soon, you know, I mean, he's their only saver. I mean, he's the only opponent he never finished, technically.
That's true. Jake Paul said he's knocked out every person he's fought, but that's a lie.
That's a lie. He never knocked out Deji. It was an RTD, right? You know, but no, never. I guess it was technically the ref technically stopped it, but still, you know what I mean? Like, you know, he never technically put his lights out. So, you know, we have one hero who can still save us, Josh. If none of these MMA or boxing guys can do it, we have one guy out there, our last option, our last hope.
Yeah, that's funny. That is true. He's the only guy who's not knocked out. Let me go ahead and just ask you. Well, I mean, and Gib got stopped because, like, he couldn't stop wobbling over himself because he was walking like a crab during that fight. Like, what the fuck was that?
Came back strong in his last fight, though.
He did. He looked a lot better, and it's like, I don't know what the fuck he was doing, dude. He was, like, bouncing up and down, dude. That was the weirdest fight of all.
He talked about that. That was a weird thing, too. He cleaned up after that, though, because he never boxed like that before, either, like in his matches. And he has the most experience out of all the YouTube guys. The only issue is they're, like, not a big enough name, already beat him. Unless he does some crazy shit where he starts fighting himself, like, in some big matches, I don't think Jake will ever entertain the idea.
That's true. But real quickly, out of curiosity, of those three names that I went ahead and threw out there, Chavez Jr., Fury, and Silva, do you favor Jake to beat any of them, and which one would you like to see the most next?
I mean, I just don't want to see Fury. I mean, I think Fury makes the most sense. Like I'm telling you, I think that will answer a lot of questions. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Which is a guy near his age due, around the same size, relatively the same experience, but has been doing this at a younger age, so he's been on the come up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like all of that works out. So that's what I'm saying. Because then if he fights like the Silva, the Chavez, that's a whole nother level. That's when now it's serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we're talking of him fighting real people. No hate to the guys before. You know, we're talking about guys who are like
boxers,
you know, legit ass fucking people. Talk about Anderson Silva who can actually hit back without getting hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I fully believe. You know, like, I fully believe if Anderson, like, boxed in his prime, he would have been a world champion. Like, if he fully dedicated to boxing. I'm not talking about, like, if he went from MMA to boxing. Like, if he went ahead and focused on boxing. Like, he's a rare human being. And then Chavez Jr., he's a lot smaller than Jake. Like, I know he fights at, like, 180
but he fights the weight class, though, so we couldn't really, shit on him if he, you know, because it'd be fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but, like,
because the guy has years of experience on the guy, you know, and for what you want to say about those fights that he's had, though, I mean, he still fought a lot of times, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So that, I mean, I think, is this not, fuck, I don't even know. I feel like the Anderson Silva and, like, the Chavez fight, they're both, like, fucking crazy ass fights. And that Chavez fight, it's gonna sound crazy, I think the Chavez fight would be bigger than the Silva fight. Even though I think the Silva fight should be bigger than the Chavez fight.
Is it because he can draw on like the Mexican side of things, possibly?
Yes, just so they can root against them.
That's true.
That's literally the only reason why. Just so they can root against him, and maybe some to support him, just because they feel sorry for him.
Man, I've always kind of felt bad for Chavez. Like I understand waste of potential, all that, and a bit of a quitter.
He's kind of done it himself. So
yeah, but like I'm not gonna get into that, but yeah, like I've always thought, like, you know what?
So that's what I'm saying. That's the other thing that would be good for Jake if he were to take that fight. That he would get a lot of fucking clout from that fight.
He would get a lot of clout, and even then, like, I couldn't even shit on that fight.
And especially if he was coming off like a Silva win, leading into that. Oh, he'd peak. I think after that.
I think if anything, he should fight Chavez and then fight Silva, because Silva's already whooped that ass.
He has. Technically, I feel like that'd be the correct order. But for some reason, I think if it were to go in a different order, I think it'd be Silva then.
Hey man, Chavez picked up a win this past week.
He did, but I'm pretty sure before that he picked up a loss too.
Yeah, he lost to Silva and then he beat some guy that's name I don't remember on the same night that Jake fought. So, anyways,
he talked about it though. He talked about it on Instagram Live about fighting him.
Really?
He did. I'm surprised it hasn't made more news, but he did talk about it.
Wait, who did? Chavez?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said, "I beat that ass." Essentially.
Oh, no way.
I'm pretty sure you said he couldn't lose him. Like, there's no way he could not allow himself to lose him.
I truly think like, as much as it was like embarrassing to lose to Silva, I think if that fight actually got booked, I think Chavez would probably come out like a demon. Because he knows.
I think he'd obliterate him.
I think he'd probably obliterate him too. Even though he's older now. He's actually not that old. He's only 35, which is weird.
He's turning 36 soon though, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he'd come out like a demon. I don't think he'd allow himself to lose.
But you know something we haven't mentioned about all these people that we were mentioning in the mix? People are actually calling him out now.
Who?
They're calling Jake out. Like, they want to fight Jake. Like, before no one entertained the idea. Shit, even MVP threw his hat into the mix, which is possible.
Dude, MVP.
I mean, that's who they could actually send with no issue. You know what I mean? They
could send him. Send MVP, bro. He'd kill him.
MVP would kill him, yes.
I truly believe of all the options that they could possibly make, the worst one to make would be MVP. Like, I truly believe that, dude. Like, he's 2-0 as a boxer, but even with that, with counting his boxing experience, he's a big guy for 170, and he's timing, his punching power. He beat the shit out of Jake Paul. But, you know, regardless, this is kind of like the last thing I want to hit on, within this Jake Paul, sphere that we're talking about right now. A member of the Jake Paul sphere, Tyron Woodley, who just got knocked out, face down on Saturday night. I generally thought retirement, and we saw him like immediately after the fight, and he looked just heartbroken. He looked distraught. But then, at the post-fight press conference, he's like, "Don't look at me with sorrow eyes. I've beat a lot of asses in here. I've done a whole lot." Ass. Yeah, but he said that, he said a lot of stuff, but he's like, you know what? I'm coming back. I'm going to fight next year and put a couple of fights together. Jake offered him a fight on his next undercard.
That's lit.
Should T. Wood retire, man? I mean, this is 5 straight in MMA, I believe, or 4 straight, and then 2 losses in boxing. What do you think you should do?
I mean, for what it's worth, man, I mean, he hadn't been knocked out. I mean, he didn't even get knocked out. Did he get knocked out by Nate Marquardt when he had that fight?
Yeah, he got knocked out.
He got put out. I mean, it had been years since he had been put out. I mean, 2012, man. I mean, almost a decade, Josh, since he had actually been put out. I mean,
I know.
As far as his brain's in relatively good health then, right? Relative. I said relative. I didn't say good.
Yeah, sure.
He could still fight, and if he's committed, I mean, you saw there was some sort of improvement, and with proper matchmaking, I don't think it'd be a bad option for him to continue fighting.
What do you think about him fighting Le'Veon Bell?
Not a smart choice. I think that'd be even worse than this fight.
Really?
Him. Yes.
Does Le'Veon Bell have hands?
Dude, he's not even like a bad boxer. Like I like for as much as it is, like he's actually I think he challenged for like a world title at one point.
What?
Pretty sure he did. He has like 30 fights, dude.
No, he doesn't.
Pretty sure he does, doesn't he? Oh, Le'Veon. Oh, you're talking about Gian. Oh, I thought you were thinking about. I was thinking J. Leon Love. My bad.
Oh no. Jalen Love, which by the way, I've heard that fight that he had. He beat not Charles Oliveira, Marcus Oliveira.
Yeah, Charles
Heard that fight
Oliveira.
was
See, we're
fucking
both mixing up names.
I heard that fight was terrible.
Yeah. No, Le'Veon Bell would probably die.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever had any boxing experience, but he called out T Wood, so.
So a lot, I mean, you saw with fucking these basketball players this past week, they talk about fighting, but once you start fighting, they see what actually happens and it's a whole different story.
If it goes anything like his rap career, I don't want to hear about it, bro. I don't want to see it.
No, Le'Veon Bell does not want that smoke.
He does not want that smoke. But hey, if he wants to, I know he just got signed to the Bucks, but if he wants to go next February or next March or something, I'm sure T would be around. I've had the point of should he retire from a competitive standpoint? Yes. From a money making standpoint, I think right now it's probably the most he's going to get paid outside of his UFC championship run.
I wonder if he's made the most. I wonder how close he is.
I think it's close. I mean, it comes. I'm not entirely sure.
But he's made a nice amount.
He made a couple of bags for that Jake Paul fiasco, but he also got paid. He was a champion, and he got pay-per-view points on not one but two Connor cards, bro.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'm right with that.
Oh wait, no, I think it was two Connor. Hold on, let me do the math real quick. He fought. I think he was on two Connor undercards, and he was also on the undercard of DC Jones too. So he got a shit ton of money through pay-per-view points. God, no wonder Dana doesn't like him. Good lord.
And sponsors now too with boxing. He got sponsors on his short.
That's true. So I think it's close as for how much he made. But yeah, dude, I think Eagle FC's probably gonna throw a bag at him if I had to guess.
Yeah, you saw that shit too.
Habib is making a big splash, dude. He's signing a lot of these guys that still have some name value and still have some competitiveness in them.
He even talked about signing Dustin, dude. You saw that?
Yeah, he did. And Dana was like, it's not as easy to think. Be careful what you wish for. And Habib's like, you know what? I'll take that challenge. Like, I'm sure that Habib.
I mean, that's just Dana, though. Dana's one of those guys who's like, since he's like, number one at this right now, he doesn't obviously he's gonna shit on everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but dude, I think Tyron, right now is the time to get paid. I think if Jake is smart, if Jake's actually a really smart guy, which promotionally wise, he's smart as shit. Him and Nikisa, his manager, they got that shit figured out, bro. I think if they're smart, they're gonna give Tyron some can on the undercard of the next Jake fight, and Tyron's just gonna obliterate him.
You're gonna give him Pretty Boy Taylor.
No. Although, I mean, that'd be I like Anthony. That'd be a rough night for him. Just because of the size difference, but yeah, if I'm Tyron Woodley, I'm gonna keep on fighting, dude. I think he's gonna collect some serious bags in the next year or so. I mean, as much as people like to talk about how bad he is now, yes, he's bad. And no, he probably shouldn't be fighting from a health standpoint, but dude, he got two humongous bags for the fucking Jake Paul fight. And Jake's offering him to be on the undercard for the next one. I'm sure he's going to make some good money there. If he wants to fight in MMA, I'm sure Eagle FC will probably pay him. Maybe PFL, some of these other promoters. I don't think Bellator will want him, but maybe, weird things have happened.
Sadly,
Yeah, weirder things have happened. So we'll see what happens there. Regardless though, man, that's pretty much all we got for the whole Tyron Jake Paul thing, that whole sphere, that whole thing that's going on. That's it. But we do have a little bit of UFC to talk about. It was a fun card. It kind of got overshadowed because it was such a huge night for boxing. But all in all, we'll start with the main event, UFC Vegas 45 from the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. Last UFC show of the year, Derek Lewis defeating Chris Daukaus via knockout 3 minutes in. A pretty easy night at the office for the Black Beast. He picks up another win and continues breaking records for knockouts in the UFC. I believe this is number 13. So, Angel, my man, what do you think about Derek Lewis getting the big dub? I mean, look, I was honestly shocked that he was a pretty big underdog in this one. Kind of proved everybody wrong.
Wait, he was?
Yeah, I think he was a 2-1 underdog.
What the fuck? These fucking people, dude. Dude, what the fuck is it with combat lately, dude? Jesus fucking Christ. I'll lose my goddamn mind.
Well, I mean, hey, Chris Daukaus had 4 knockout wins going in.
He did, but I mean, the fucking,
in a row. I mean,
look at the competition. Who did he knock out? His best win was probably Shamil at that point, and Shamil hadn't fought
Olynyk.
Olynyk, but Olynyk has a style. You know what I mean? Olynyk had been knocked out. You know what I mean? Gotta also look into that. But Shamil hadn't fought in almost 3 years, something like that. I might be wrong there. Am I close?
Yeah, I think you're close.
Yeah, so there's various factors. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Dawkins. Like, in his come up, I was like, okay, cool. Thought he was moving quick. I thought he should have gone the Tom Aspinall kind of route. I think, like, I like Tom Aspinall. He went the complete different direction. I mean, I gotta give him credit, though. I mean, he was calling out, like, fucking Stipe and shit after his, like, third knockout in a row or second knockout in a row, which respect. You want to be that guy who's, calling out these names and getting yourself in these positions. He called out Lewis. I mean, shit, if he would have called out, and if he would have beat Derek, I mean, he would have been, Josh, the hype train would have been nice on him, right? Cop, coming out, knocking out the knockout artist at heavyweight right now. Boom. It would have been legit. Didn't end up playing like that, sadly. But, that's just how it goes, man. And, I mean, shit, it went the way I thought it was going to go. I thought he was going to get a little overzealous. It wasn't going to come out and do any game plan of what I thought. And then, like, I didn't even think he feinted a takedown or anything. And, obviously, we talked about the body shots being in a thing, but obviously that was going to be hard regardless just because of, not being lengthy and long. But, I thought he maybe could have done some things, maybe a push kick or something in there. Once Derek kind of was like, oh, yeah, this guy, he's not going to respect my power. Yeah, let me get in here and just start throwing knees and shit and doing my thing. And I mean, he got him good, dude. He put him out.
Yeah, man, he did. And I was honestly shocked that he was being favored by anybody because I like Chris Daukaus, dude, but like if you're a striker and you're not a Cyril Gane striker, right? I'm gonna favor Derek Lewis 9 times out of 10. If you're not a long, lanky guy that uses a lot of kicks, throws a lot of feints,
or wrestle.
Or you can wrestle. Excuse me. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna favor Derek Lewis over you, and he made it look really, really easy. I thought it was gonna be. I like Chris Daukaus a lot. I was surprised at how easy it was for Derek Lewis, dude. I think he truly showed that. While he's not, he's kind of a meme. He's a fun fighter, all that stuff. He kind of, I feel like, will never truly get the respect of being like a legitimately very, very good heavyweight. I mean, you can make the case that like he's one of the greatest heavyweights to not win the UFC heavyweight title. He may still one day. I mean,
there's a lot of fighters though. There's a lot of fighters who don't achieve that.
That's true. But yeah, dude. I mean,
13. And it's like, and I'm sorry to cut you off there, but it's not. I don't think, and it's gonna sound crazy. He didn't become this with the intention of becoming this. It kind of happened, just kind of because he just ended up being kind of good. You know what I mean? It was just all kind of he reached greater heights than what he expected out of himself, beat better people than what he expected out of himself, and he finds himself in this position where he could be fighting again for a title not too long from now. If he beats another good guy. I mean, shit, if he could be asking to fight Stipe and they could realistically give him that fight. Obviously, we're thinking they're going to give that to Jones, but you know what I mean. Like, Derek can do that and be in a good position. And if he were to win against Stipe, he'd be back in the title mix. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, it's all kind of like, to an extent, I want to say almost accidental, but not accidental because I think, funny enough for him, he never realized how good he could actually be. Like, I'm sure he was like, okay, I need to win fights, so I need to be good. But he didn't know how far and what extents he would get to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, he's a guy that he's continuing to shock me. I mean, he can truly, as much as he still has a reputation of being a brawler, he was throwing a lot of feints in that fight that Daukaus bit on, which ultimately led to the finish. And you could tell, like, he's improved so much, dude. I mean, night and day in this versus, like, the Roy Nelson fight from a couple of years ago. Like, that's just one example, but, like, he's truly evolved a lot. He's shown that he still is a world, tight, like, one of the top heavyweights on the planet, rather. And he still could be in a position where he may one day challenge for the title again. Let's remember here that had Ngannou in the UFC not had, like, a pay dispute, he would have fought Ngannou for the title rather than Gane.
Which is so aggravating for me, dude.
I know, and that's also a fight. He's already beaten Ngannou once. And now, it was a terrible fight, but he still beat him. And I think it's a lot easier matchup. Like, depending on how the cards fall, shit, Derek Lewis in another universe is world champion right now. That's not too far off. So, yeah, man, I'm happy to see him get the dub. It was a fun night for Derek Lewis for a lot of the Black Beast fans, but it was not a fun night for the Wonder Boy crowd. It was a rough one, man. Not gonna lie. Now, I don't think there's a whole lot to say about it either, but Bilal Muhammad dominating Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Unanimous decision. 30-25, 30-26, 30-26. Unanimous decision for Belal Muhammad. Look, man, not a whole lot to talk about this one. Worst loss of Wonderboy's career by far, but gotta give props to Belal, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I gotta respect. I didn't think he was gonna. I didn't think I thought it was easier for him to take down, or Belal had an easier time taking down Wonderboy than what Gilbert did when Gilbert fought Wonderboy. I thought. Granted, though, people mentioned the cage. I forgot about that. That could have been a factor. Obviously, didn't have as much room to move around. But I mean, that's still impressed me. It wasn't the most exciting victory, but it was a solid win. He got it done, and it looked a little rough for Wonderboy, right? Because literally a few days before this, he extended his fight contract, to 8 more fights, and he wants to be the oldest guy to fight in the UFC. And obviously that wasn't the greatest look right afterwards. But hey, man, at least he didn't get knocked out or anything like that, and we can still see Wonderboy in some fun matchups.
I think so. I still think we absolutely can. It's the biggest sign of, getting old sucks, man. Because I don't think.
Man, why can't we just have TRT in the UFC, man, for everybody? Just fuck it.
Well, just here's the thing. If this is a fight that I like Belal Muhammad a lot. I've been on the Belal Muhammad train for a long time, dude. But even then, it's this is a guy that he would have.
Dude, I saw his UFC debut. That was one of the earliest fights I can remember.
Really?
Yes.
Dude, I truly think that he would have gotten Wonderboy even 2 or 3 years ago would have fucked him up.
Oh yeah.
Because he had tremendous movement. He just slowed down a whole lot. No, that's not to say Wonderboy can't have fun fights. I think Wonderboy.
Oh yeah.
He's a future Hall of Famer, man. He's not going to win the belt. I still think him versus Usman, him of 2016 versus Usman now is a low-key dream fight for me. But,
fantasy fight.
Yeah, fantasy fight. That's what I mean. Yeah, man, just disappointing. But you know what? Good win for Belal. He's into the top 5. And, Joe Rogan got memed for a couple of months back because, UFC 260, I don't remember, what was it, 268. After, they're just sitting down, they're talking about all the fights after all the fights ended. He's like, guys, remember, there's still people at welterweight, but Belal Muhammad is out there. And it made
he's actually ranked high though. So
now he's ranked high. Now it's not that inconceivable that we could see.
Well, dude, but Belal's been one of the most disrespected guys in this weight class outside of Leon Edwards,
For sure, and those two fought each other, and they may fight each other again, honestly.
I mean, those guys do need to fight each other again at some point.
They do, and Belal, dude, I mean, he's one of the most disrespected guys in the UFC. I understand sometimes he's not.
due for a main event, isn't he now? Now that he's ranked this high, and he's due for a main event. I don't know if he had one at all. I can't think of one, but he
main evented on short notice against Leon. That's it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's not the same though.
No, it's not. Yeah, man, I think that the only thing he could really work on is finding a way to get the finish. He still only has 2 finishes in the UFC. Outside of that, dude, he's the full package. He can wrestle, he can strike, he's got good cardio. I like Belal Muhammad a lot, man.
He has a personality too. He's a fun guy.
Very fun guy.
He's a good analyst too. I mean, I like him on the pre-shows that they do when I know he's never done commentary, but I think if he ever decides to end his career, and decide to go into commentary, I think he'd be a fun guy. There's a few guys who I think are, as much as I like Dom Cruz, I know you like Bisping. I'm not the biggest fan of Bisping, not gonna lie to you, on commentary.
What about DC?
DC, he gets really biased. I'm not gonna hate on you, but I can't blame him, because these guys are fighters. Some of these guys are their training partners, they're their friends, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard not to be biased. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And for me, I think the best guy out of all the fighters is Paul Felder.
Oh yeah, I think Paul Felder is tremendous.
And it's not even close, in my opinion.
Outside of the cheesesteak thing, he's not too bad.
Yes. You put ketchup on it? Is that what it was?
Yeah, he said he puts ketchup and sometimes mayo on his cheesesteak.
Okay, mayo doesn't sound that crazy because I've seen other people in Philly do that. That doesn't sound crazy. But ketchup is fucking disgraceful. That's like putting hot sauce
I think mayo, I think you can get away with mayo. But he said he puts ketchup and mayo.
Well, see, you can make that ketchup mayo mix sauce, which is a little bit more respectable, but still not as acceptable.
I think a ketchup, I actually kind of like that ketchup and mayo mix sauce, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But not on a cheesesteak. Especially not ketchup.
The only way you eat cheesesteak is just in and of itself, or you could do a hot sauce. So some people do hot sauce, but if you're going to eat it like a purist, you just do that and maybe some peppers.
Exactly. You got to do it the purist way, or a little bit of hot sauce, like you said. Not too bad. You can get away with the hot sauce, but you gotta eat the pure way. I don't care that he's from Philly. He's lost his Philly pass, bro. I gotta take it away.
He lost Sean Brady, Eddie Alvarez. You guys gotta go get that shit right now.
Eddie Hours, go run that motherfucker, all right? Gotta go get that. Yeah, I can't. I love Paul Felder. Outside of that, I mean, I like Bisping a lot, but he can sometimes get on tangents, which annoys me. They all have their flaws. You know, commentary is a tough ass job.
Oh yeah, I mean it's and like the sport is young. You know, there's not one guy who's been doing it for 50 years. You know, well not 50. Actually, exactly. Fuck, there is guys in sports who've been doing it for 50 years. Actually, I mean, I guess I can't not say that, but yeah, no, I mean, who's the oldest commentator on the desk right now? Like, who's been doing it the longest? Probably Rogan.
Oh yeah, Joe by far. Yeah.
By far, yeah. And after that, who's behind that?
Anik's been around since 2011 or 2012.
But granted, he does color commentary. No hate to him.
That's true. Play by play, only Joe.
Yeah.
Because, well, I mean, outside of Joe, they really didn't have anybody up until they brought in, I want to say Brian Stan and Dan Hardy around like 2010.
Yeah.
Like Joe did every show for like years.
Yeah. Shout out to Joe, dude, with all this shit going on in comedy.
Joe held it down for like a decade plus. But yeah, nowadays it's rough. It's a tough ass job though. It's a tough ass job.
I couldn't do it
unless you're like overly terrible.
Oh yeah.
Which have
they had a bad one?
No
hate to the people.
I'm not gonna. You know what? Dom's a bit dry for me. I'll just say it.
I like Dom. When Dom breaks down a fight really good, I think he's good. Though
it's weird. I love Dom's breakdowns, but I don't like his YouTube videos where he breaks shit down. You could tell like this dude's got a mind for MMA, bro. Like he's fucking Einstein for MMA. That being said, whenever he's on commentary, I don't like him.
While we were on it, who's your favorite? Like, you know how they bring on guests? Who do you like as guests? My favorite one is always Trevor Whitman when they bring him on. I love Trevor Whitman.
I also like Dean Thomas a lot.
Dean Thomas is really fun too. He always brings a good perspective. Dean. Yes, you're right. And they're bringing him around more. I wonder why.
I don't know. I think Trevor's just busy with probably like.
Well, I mean, and I think Dana likes Dean legitimately too, which is the other thing, which helps. But yeah, no. Now they bring him. They've had him on the pre-shows, and he's a fun dude. Yeah, that's another fun one. You're right. I like that.
Yeah, overall, commentary's in a good place right now. And even, like, you could tell, like, listen, man, I'm just saying, Laura Sanko should be on a broadcast soon. That's all I
want to hear it, too, dude. I actually genuinely like her during the pre-show. I kind of feel sad because sometimes I feel like she gets overwhelmed by the guys. Like, the guys kind of take over when she's trying to talk. And she makes legitimately good points. I feel like, it's going to sound crazy, out of everybody there, when they're doing the pre-shows, I think she's the one who's trying the hardest. And I'm not saying in a negative way. I'm saying in a good way. Because she has something important to say. And I think on commentary, that could actually be valuable. And she's actually fought. A lot of people don't know this. She's actually fought like a fair bit. I think she has over 10 fights, actually. Funny enough, too.
She may an amateur. I think as a pro, I think she was 2-0 for Invicta. She retired because she went to start a family. But, yeah, I mean, she's got experience. A lot of people don't know that. You're right. Like, a lot of people really overlook that fact.
Yeah, I didn't know this for a while, and then I looked into her, and I really gained a lot of respect for her for that, and obviously throughout now watching more pay-per-views, watching more pre-shows, and been keeping up with him more, I genuinely like her, and I liked her on I think she did commentary for what's it called, the Contender Series.
She does commentary for Contender Series. She was the first woman outside of in the modern era. I can't remember the woman's name. She was a boxer who did commentary.
It was a long time ago, yes.
For UFC 2, I think.
Yes.
And she also did commentary for Invicta before she went on to the Contender Series and all that. So
yeah, she's local.
Yeah, she's awesome. I mean, she was fighting before women were in the UFC. Like as an amateur, she's like I looked it up. She was an amateur who fought 5 times and then as a pro 1 time. So
I knew she had a fair bit, like at least like a handful. I didn't know who. For some reason, I thought it was over 10, but it was just a little under.
Yeah, but she's very, very good. She should be on the desk soon. But just to go and move on to the rest of the card, man, what are some of the other fights you want to go and highlight on this thing?
Okay, let me bring this up. I just had it here. I mean, I'm going to skip over around here, but we gotta give this guy his slack. I mean, Ricky Simone, Josh, after having that little 2-fight stint there where things didn't go his way, I mean, he was a young guy. I mean, still very young now. I mean, he's kind of, he was one of those, I mean, I think he has been at this weight class, one of the biggest prospects of this weight class, just not everybody knows of him. You know what I mean? Unless you keep up with the sport.
Mm.
But you could say that legitimately. I mean, at one point, this guy only had 1 loss in the UFC.
True. And I think the fact that he's still so young, he's still only 29 years old, I think it's actually kind of good. It's going to sound weird. I think it's very, very good for him that he hit that block. Because he hit that block where, like, he got a couple of wins. He beat Ronnie Yaya. And he got a lot of hype behind him. He's already a former LFA champ. And then he got knocked out by Uriah, and he got dominated by Rob Font. Not really dominated, but from what I remember, it was a fun fight, but it was like a clear 30-27. After that, he's had to work his way back up. He's worked on his finishing ability. He's evolved a fair bit to where now, like, as he's 29 years old. He's in the rankings. Like, he's still a very good prospect, dude. Like, I'm fully agree with him. No, yeah, I'm on the Ricky Simone train, bro. Also holds the win over Marab, which is easy to forget. Like, that was
that's a good fucking win too.
And that was a weird one too, where like he choked him out right at the bell. So I'd like to see those two run it back at some point in time.
They probably will.
I'm sure they will. And the other, I mean, there's a couple of other fights to talk about, man. I mean, Gamrot getting a nice win over Carlos Diego Ferreira. Although the only real issue with that one is that it was like an injury, which kind of threw people off. I also read that he actually injured that part like a week ago in camp, like his rib.
Gamrot was looking good though, regardless though. Like, I know there's still another round left, and it plays a factor, but he was looking good.
True. Death taxes and Angela Hill losing another split decision. That happened as well. Unfortunate, because I think most people thought she won this one as well, so that's really shitty for her, dude. I've never seen her, like, be on the right end of, like, a close decision.
I mean, dude, it's gonna happen, and she's not gonna be deserving of it, which is probably gonna be funny. That's probably how it's gonna go.
Yeah, the last time she won a split decision, she won of all the fights that have, like, gone to split decision in her career, she's only won it once out of 6 times.
God.
And it was in Invicta. So in the UFC, I believe she's 0 for 5. Against Courtney Casey, Gadea, Watterson, Lemos, and then one other I'm missing. But yeah, rough time for her. Rough time. Yeah, man, it happens. Unfortunately. But dude, Cub Swanson's still doing the damn thing.
He was being disrespected. People were picking against him in this fight. I don't know if you saw some of like the pick'ems on like I know on Verdict, a lot of people had picked Darren Elkins over Cub Swanson. Which I was like, that's weird. Like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I didn't understand that at all. I know what you're talking about. I believe Darren Elkins was a favorite going in. And I think probably the fact that he was a favorite is probably coming off of the fact that, like, he'd won 2 in a row and he looked pretty good, but I just thought skill set wise he was too hittable, dude. And Cub Swanson, ever since he actually, like, took some time off, it sounds weird, take some time off, he tore his ACL and his MCL, fucked up everything in his leg. But ever since he came back from that, it's like he's been rejuvenated, bro. Like, he knocked Dana Pineda dead. And now he's knocked out Darren Elkins. His one loss with the Giga, and, I mean, I want to say I want to see him running that back someday, but, like, I don't know, man. Like, that was so early. It was such a weird finish, man. I'd like to see them fight at some point in time again. I still think Cub Swanson has a lot to offer. He's not going to win a title, and I think he's probably the best UFC fighter to have never fought for the title. But I still think at this point in his career, he still has a lot to give, personally. I mean, 3 wins in his last 4. That's awesome. And also, like, unexpected given everything that's happening, or happened to him. And I think, Raquel Pennington got a good win. Jordan Levy, your boy, got a nice win. Melissa Gatto got a nice win over Sarge. Justin Toffa got a nice win. Last one I want to bring up, though, Gerald Meerschaert, dude. Holy shit. Like, this is, once again, down on the cards going into the 3rd round. He comes from behind, and for my money, he's the comeback fighter of the year. Oh, shit, I shouldn't have said that. We have the awards next week. Whatever. Giving it away. Gerald Meerschaert, dude. He got knocked out in back-to-back fights in 2020. He turns it around this year. I believe he's an underdog in all 3 of these fights, and he wins all 3 of them via submission.
Yep.
Insane.
He might not like it, Josh, but I think for him it's not a bad thing. But he is truly the gatekeeper of this division right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he has a level. He couldn't beat Thiago Santos when he was down here. Wasn't able to beat Jack Hermanson. Took Kevin Holland to a split decision. I don't know how that went off the top of my head. Lost that. Lost Eric Andrews, who just beat a guy who lost a guy who's now ranked. And lost to Hosmat, who's, riding this epic, hype train. So, clearly, at least from what we could see here, he has a level. He's competitive though, So it's not like he's always getting shut down. But, I think this isn't a bad place for him, especially because he's winning and looking good.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man. And overall, this is honestly a super fun card. I mean, like UFC went out swinging the last 2 weeks to kind of end their run. Obviously, the pay-per-view UFC 269 was phenomenal, and this fight night UFC Vegas 45 was also phenomenal. No more UFC until January 15th, 2022. Oh my God, that's good Lord. That I've always wanted a break. I kind of like having a break or like 1 week at a time.
But if you really think about it, that's not really that long from now.
I know. It still feels
weird. It's literally gonna be 1 week off, and even then, we might not even take that week off.
I know. It's still weird though. Still weird.
I mean, they come back quick, in my opinion. I think that's quick.
All right. But just to go ahead and close out the show, obviously this is going to be going up on Christmas Eve, I believe. Angel. It was a huge year for sports. 2021, even outside of MMA and boxing, there was a whole lot to go on. What are a couple of things? Gonna have to do 3. What are just a couple of things you were thankful for in the wide world of sports this year, my guy, to kind of close out?
Well, one, we got to actually have sports. I mean, that was still a big question mark coming into this year, right? And even last year, where there was kind of like, well, this is gonna happen, and we won't be able to do this, maybe. There's a lot of shit going on, right? We didn't even know. So number one, as a whole, we had all sports back with some fans or no fans. 2, the UFC continued, right? All the events continued. Everything was, we got to see Conor fight. We got to see title fights. We got excitement. We went back to Abu Dhabi. We went back to Fight Island. This shit was awesome. Like it ended up being a good year. And 3rd, I got, the Suns are still doing good. I didn't know if people would run it back, but so far into this next season, we're still looking like a competitive team. We're number 1st in the West, and we're holding it down.
For sure, man. You guys are holding it down, and can't say the same for OKC. We a couple of weeks ago had quite literally the largest loss in NBA history.
Literally.
But I'm actually kind of happy. I'm not happy with this year, but I'm seeing some guys.
Hey man, you guys out here breaking records, man.
We're breaking records, bro. No, I'm seeing some of our guys develop. I'm seeing them improve. Like, I'm not that worried about it. But, obviously not losing by 70 would also be dope.
Yeah.
But, overall, dude, this is a phenomenal year for sports. I mean, MMA was popping. Boxing had a lot of fun, which honestly was needed. Really, only the end of the year for boxing was fun. Outside of that, fucking, it was terrible up until, like, September.
This year had a lot of potential for boxing. It kind of rallied back near the end. I think next year is a big year, though. I think, obviously with Canelo going up the fucking, what is it, like two weight classes, essentially.
Yeah, the cruiserweight.
Up to cruiserweight. Earl Spence is going to fight Ugas, which, yeah, I mean, not what I want.
Crawford, but it's not bad.
That is set there, though. That's going to happen now. I feel like it's going to happen now. It cannot happen. Because we're destined to meet at some point. Tank is going to find himself in some big fights. Obviously, Kambosos came into the picture. And obviously in the UFC, dude, I mean, we're going to talk about our end of the year awards. We always talk about, like, who's going to be champ. We've done that. I don't know if we'll do that for this next year. But we talk about kind of we're going to talk about the state of each division. We're going to talk about a number of things potentially. And, I mean, there's a lot of shit that's going to happen, dude. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the year starts off with a bang. I mean, to put it before, I know we're not there yet and we're not going to get into any details, but I mean, early on, we're going to have Gon versus Ngannou for one of our pay-per-views, followed by Robert Whittaker versus Izzy. That's literally how we kick off 2022. For
sure, man. And it's going to be, I mean, as good as 2021 was, 2022 is shaping up to be even better, which is crazy. Like every single year. I mean, there's been some dud years, but like I feel like for the most part, I mean, just been on like an upward trajectory for the past 6 or 7 years.
I mean, they've earned some consistency now, but I think that's because of, ESPN, the Apex kind of helped. I'm not going to lie, COVID kind of benefited the UFC in a way.
No, it massively. I mean, they did, because they were the only ones that were consistently putting stuff on. Like, obviously, football went on. NBA went on, but they were like changed their schedule. Games were canceled. Games were moved. A lot of stuff happened.
Yeah,
exactly. And
Mickey Mouse ring.
times. Mickey Mouse ring. La Bomb. The bitch. All right. So there was so much.
Go on.
There was so much stuff that happened. I mean, jokes aside, I mean that winning the bubble ring was honestly pretty difficult. I've never understood the whole Mickey Mouse ring. But regardless, it's a funny term to say for sure. But yeah, dude, it was a fun year for sports, man. Chiefs doing pretty good. Looks like my 4-loss prediction is going to somehow.
What'd I tell you, champ? You were doubting yourself. You were doubting yourself, champ. But I had you, champ. I know you had it, champ. You're the champ, goddammit.
Against all odds, the 4-loss prediction looks like it will remain intact.
And by the way, the fucking AFC is tighter than I can't say that, but it's tight. Is it the AFC or is it the NFC?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's tight.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, man, it was a tight division for sure. Anyways,
by the way, we do got to talk about football at some point because we are nearing the Super Bowl, so I do need to get your opinions on that.
How about this final week before playoffs? We'll do we'll lay shit out.
You'll lay it out.
Maybe not even that.
It really is more you just telling me everything going on and being like, yes, Josh, I 100% agree with all your opinions on football because you're always right.
I know. I like it. Just having my yes man, it's great.
Sometimes you need a yes man though. You can't, you don't want people to disagree with you. I think it'd be granted though. Dude. Knowing how passionate you are about football, dude. Imagine if I had completely the opposite opinion. How great this show could be.
Oh my god! You just got to argue with me like on every single point next time.
But I won't be able to make a good argument. Josh is like, that's fine.
That's completely cool.
Because they're wrong anyways. So this works out.
For real. Overall, firstly, I don't got anything else. I hope you guys enjoyed this week. I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at Angel_Ortega_ at Courtside Sound for all things related to the show on Twitter. I'd actually appreciate it. You guys, Spotify ratings just came out. You can go to the Spotify page now and give us a rating.
5 stars only, fuckers. Only 5 stars.
Exactly. Only 5 stars.
Big
Appreciate
PP gang, 5 star. Small PP gang, 1 star.
Straight up. Tell him, champ. Hope you guys appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That's all I got. Peace and butt grease. Muscle.